Hi everybody. Well, it's the last one of the day. We've had nine live links on our second virtual food festival. We've had such an amazing day. Thank you for subscribing on our YouTube channel. Thank you for following us. Thanks for all the lovely comments. And of course, thanks for pledging all of those donations for the rewards on the crowdfunder page. So we've got a bit of a special one, our last one for today. It's only Mr. 2 Michelin starred, Mr. Nathan Outlaw. Come on in, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Can you hear me?
Huh?
Yeah, I can hear you, Nathan. Are you there?
Is that working?
Yes, you're there.
Yes, there you go.
Hello, mate. You just need to do the old landscape flip.
I know, it's gone all funny. I need my technical assistant to help me sort it out. You need a teenage son for, right?
Yeah, that's right. So there we go. It takes the youth to be able to do it for us.
Yeah, I haven't got a clue.
No, I haven't either. And so who's this son? Who's your son called?
It's Jacob.
Jacob. Is Jacob doing performing arts?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Should we get him to sing something?
Yeah, come on, Jacob. Jacob, get in front of the camera and give us a song.
No, thank you.
Okay, all right. Listen, so if we can just kind of do that, I don't mind you being in portrait. What I don't think works is you being sort of like on the side.
Is it not working?
Yeah, it's giving me a bit of neck ache.
Go on, turn it around.
Go on,
We'll get there in a minute, Steve.
No, mate, that's all right. How's your Sunday been, Nathan?
It's been good, actually. Yeah, we've just been been sort of just chilling out, been in the garden a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sort of just embracing the lockdown like everyone else, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's quite difficult, isn't it? And you know, we've been saying all the time that we've been doing the virtual food festivals, that as difficult as it is, particularly in the hospitality world, we've just been really positive. And you know, as the internal optimist myself, I think a lot of good is going to come out of it.
Yeah, definitely. You just got to be positive, haven't you, in these times? That's all you can do, really.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and turn this around because even my teenage son can't do this, Steve.
Oh, honestly, you know what?
I think it needs to come out of here.
Yeah.
There you go. How about that?
Nice, Nathan. That's fine. Hey, Nathan, have you had a little trim there?
Yeah, this morning actually.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've just caught myself on camera, and I think I need a lockdown haircut. I look like a proper bowlead.
I saw the state of myself yesterday when I spoke to you on the to just have a look and see what it looked like, and I thought I need to have a bit of a shave before we did this today.
Well, you're looking super slick. Have you managed to catch much of what we're doing today? Because I think both Ross Geach and Jack Stein, they've gone for the whole number 2 job.
Yeah, number 2, I think that's the cut of choice. That's what I've got all over, beard as well. Hey.
Brilliant, mate. Great. Well, you look pretty well to me. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for supporting us as well. And, you know, coming up the headline on our second virtual food festival, we're delighted to have you. Thanks very much. What are you going to cook for us?
Right, so I'm going to cook something that is probably one of the first sort of things I ever ate when I started eating fish when I was a kid, and that's a fish finger sandwich. But obviously I can't just get some fish fingers out of a packet and stick them in the oven. You want a bit more than that, I suppose. So what I'm going to do is just make some turbot fish fingers, because my fishmonger managed to give me a nice turbot the other day, which is a good price at the moment. And then I'm going to make, instead of just a normal tartar sauce, I'm going to make like a pea and herb mayonnaise. So it's just really sort of a springtime now. There's plenty of herbs in my garden, which is nice. So I've got some fennel and some coriander and some mint. And then I'm just going to bind some iceberg lettuce and some gherkin together as well in there as well. So yeah, so it's a posh fish finger back. There you go. So but I did make the bats yesterday as well.
Oh, brilliant, mate. That's great. Hello, nice bats.
Nice bats.
Yeah. And
There's three things you need to do really for this recipe. You need to panade the fish, which is panade is putting the fish through some flour, eggs, and breadcrumbs. Make the mayonnaise, and then just really get the actual fry the fish, and then make the iceberg and the gherkin mix. That's it.
sounds fantastic. And you mentioned your fishmonger there. Are we talking about George Cleve?
Yeah, George. Yeah, he's a lovely lad. He's based down in Port Isaac. He's sort of been he's from Port Isaac, born and bred, so he knows his fish, and he's a bit of a Jedi fishmonger. He's very, very good, and it's one of the sort of fishmongers that are looking towards the future, and really, really thinking about the sustainability as well. So yeah, he's a good lad, and he managed to get me this fish, which was great.
Amazing. Well, you crack on. We might have a chat. If we can track George down, we might have a chat with him. But you crack on, fella.
Yeah, right. So the first thing you need to do is make the mayonnaise. Usually with mayonnaise, you use egg yolks, but I don't like wasting the white, so I just use the whole thing. It doesn't make any difference. I just don't want that white left in the fridge. Also, so one egg yolk in there. I've got some English mustard.
Yeah.
Just probably about half a teaspoon. You don't want too much, it'll blow your head off. And then, because it's a fish and chips type thing, we got this proper vinegar, malt vinegar.
Sarsons there, yeah. I'll say that. You don't have to.
Yeah, you say, yeah.
Yeah.
Then basically got some. You can use fresh peas or frozen peas, but just make sure the peas are defrosted, and just sort of drain them off, because you don't want any extra water in there. You want to sort of make it as dry as possible.
Does that, if they're not defrosted, does that make it a bit too wet and runny?
Yeah, well, you'll just have trouble blending it up, Steve, in there really. If to start with, so just if they're thawed out, it's much better. You'll get there in the end with the frozen one, but it just might take a bit of time. So blend them up. Make a bit of noise now.
That's all right. That's cool.
And then just blend away. Yeah, oil. It's just a sunflower oil.
Yeah.
I don't want olive oil. Will be a bit too strong for it, so.
That's great. So in a way, you're kind of making an emulsion, yeah?
So I'm just going to make sure that it's emulsified, and I can see it here. I don't want to split it on live YouTube, do we?
Not you. That's not possible.
Yeah, fennel herb, and basically it's coriander and mint that I've just picked off and washed.
Lovely.
That's going to go in there as well. It doesn't have to be what I'm doing here. You can put any herb in there. A nice bit of parsley would be good. You could do basil. Basil, I'd just be a bit careful because it might discolour with the amount of vinegar that's in there. But these sort of herbs are really good at the moment. I mean, fennel you can just pick up off of the hedgerow as well. So. Yeah.
Obviously, when everybody found out that you were going to be on the virtual food festival, the internet broke and we had loads of people saying, oh, I'd love to be able to get into the front row. We've got some questions from people who are watching live on YouTube. Do you mind while you're doing that, if I just feed you a few questions?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you before.
That's okay.
Go on, go for it, Steve.
That's okay, mate. I'm just going to go to questions. And actually, I've got a question before we go over there. You're based in Cornwall, and obviously you're synonymous with Cornwall, but you're not Cornish yourself, are you?
No, I'm from Kent originally. I'm from a little, what was a village when I lived there, called Snodland. It's near Maidstone in Kent. Yeah. The connection really with Cornwall is when I was a child, we always used to come on holiday to Cornwall, and then basically when I started cooking, I did that sort of classic thing that most cooking students do. You go into London and you do the London thing. But for me, it was just a bit too much. Being young and being a little bit naive, but London was a bit too crazy for me. So I just sort of, I wanted to be more rural. So I ended up, basically, I loved seafood and loved doing anything with fish. And at the time, this was sort of like mid-90s.
Yeah.
And obviously Rick Stein at that point was starting to explode on the TV with Taste of the Sea and Fruits of the Sea, the first sort of BBC series that he had. And I sort of watched those in awe. And the combination of Cornwall seafood and, believe it or not, surfing. You know, you wouldn't think it now, obviously looking at my belly, but yeah, a bit of surfing as well at that age. I sort of, I just moved down to Cornwall. I think I must have been, I was 19. So yeah. I'm 42 now. So I've been in Cornwall now for over 20 years. But yeah, originally from Kent.
Yeah. And have you yet to be accepted?
Yeah, I hope so. My wife, obviously, she's Padstow born and bred, Rachel. So she's Cornish through and through, and then the kids have been born here as well. So I am the outsider. Even the dogs are West Country. Both the dogs are West Country, aren't they?
Amazing.
Right. So the mayonnaise is nearly done. I'm going to finish that off in a minute when it's not so noisy, so I can't hear you. Right. So we'll do something a little less noisy. So here I've got some pieces of turbot, which basically all I've done is I've filleted them, made sure there's no bones on there, I've taken the skin off. Yeah. I actually posted that on Instagram a couple of days ago, a filleted turbot, and this is that turbot. And then I've just sort of made sure I've cut them into strips that are all the same sort of size. And it's very important, obviously, with fish, because it cooks so quickly that when you're cooking fish in bulk, or in like we're going to do in a fryer, they're all the same size, because you're overcooked and undercooked. So I've just cut those, and I've got some plain normal flour, some beaten egg, with just a little bit of water in it, just to let it down a bit, because otherwise it gets a bit claggy. Yeah. And then I've got some breadcrumbs, which is basically all the stale bread from I've been baking and trying like everybody else, trying to cook sourdough. Yeah. Not so much joy, to be honest with you. I'll probably stick to the fish cookery and leave the baking to the experts.
Well, don't worry about that. Me too, because I was meant to feed my sourdough starter today, and I've neglected it like the kids upstairs. I've got a question from Deborah Hollingdale on our live YouTube. She's afraid of cooking turbot and Dover sole. She wants some help. What's the first bit of advice you would give her?
Well, I mean, it depends what she's worried about. Is she worried about the bones, or is she worried about it being whole? If it's that, I would say the best thing to do is to do it very, very simply, so you can see, when you're eating it, you can see exactly what you're eating and where you're eating. Yeah, because sometimes it's the squeamish, not squeamishness, but it's the off-putting of the bones that is the problem. If it is that, do something very simple. Don't cover it in sauce, and don't cover it in things. Otherwise, you're just going to be worrying about the bones in that. If it's the actual cooking of turbot and Dover sole, again, just be, I would say, be well prepared with everything else that you're putting with the fish. And what I mean by that, if you're doing a few potatoes and a bit of salad or whatever you're doing with it, get all that ready before you even think about cooking the fish, because both of those fish, I mean, Dover sole fillets, 2 or 3 minutes, they're cooked. Bit of turbot that's offered a decent sized fish is going to do about 3 or 4 minutes. So you want everything else ready, including your plates warm if they need to be warm. People sat down at the table before you cook in a fish, because fish, once it starts to cook, waits for nobody. Yeah, one of those things.
And turbot is one of those things, because we often talk about freshness of fish, but am I right in thinking that turbot actually benefits from allowing to rest a day or so before you cook it?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, I'd say even more than that, Steve, really. I think, turbot's one of those fish that, if you've ever seen one that's been caught and then actually, is fresh as it's just been caught, it's actually, you wouldn't even be able to get your knife into it. It's that firm. The rigor mortis on something like that is quite incredible, really. So, I mean, you do hear nowadays, there's a lot of these quite modern, I'd say more modern chefs. I wouldn't put myself in that bracket. They're aging fish for quite a long time, so up to 20 days and even longer, which those sort of fish, being turbot, especially the bigger fish, you can do with. For me personally, I don't really like to eat a turbot for more than probably about 6 or 7 days. I think that's probably the best time, really. It's definitely true. It is one of those fish where if you went into a restaurant and they say, "Oh, you got caught yesterday," and it's on the plate and it's all soft and lovely, they're probably dying. There's no way.
Yeah. But do you know what, Nathan? What we've discovered really in these strange times is that people are having exposure to freshness, particularly with fish. And down in Padstow, as you know, you can buy fish on the harbour wall. And I live in Lyme Regis, and I could cycle down into Lyme Regis and buy lobster, scallops, and really nice fish. And I think that's something that we're trying to sort of keep alive. That would be really good, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's brilliant. I mean, the actual the fishermen themselves, I mean, they're having to work a bit harder because now they're not just taking it to market and it's dealt with. They're actually being a bit more dynamic, which is great for them, I think, because people then see the actual, if you just go and pick up a piece of fish from a shop and there's nothing, no story behind it, you don't think about it that much. And what's great about, like you just said, you go to the harbour side and you buy some fish, or you go to someone who's an actual fisherman that's set up a stall on the side of the road. There's it's where it's come from, and that's wonderful because it just gives people more appreciation for what basically is one of the UK, if not the world's, one of the most fabulous commodities that we've got. Wild commodities, it's just there, and if people are aware of it, then obviously they respect it much more.
Yeah, absolutely. And that knowledge of dealing with different fish, because Deborah was saying that she was nervous about Dover sole and turbot, and really the idea between what we're doing and what you're doing is getting rid of that fear and opening up the knowledge and sharing that, and just celebrate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, it can be, if you've got with a few small skills and a bit of confidence, you've got essentially the best convenience food you could ever have. Fish cooks so quickly, it essentially is a convenience food, and all you've got to do at home really is fill in those gaps with somewhere where you can get some amazing fish for a start, which is not always the easiest thing, but there is places out there, and then really just a few skills and a few that you sort of. It's no doubt about it. The first time you cook a bit of fish and you've got a challenge in front of you, you may not get it right, but it's that repetitiveness and that sort of confidence of keep doing it that will make you better. I mean, once upon a time, I couldn't cook a piece of fish. I probably still can't, and some people, but according to some people. But it's about doing it and being more confident as well. So it's a great skill to have as well.
Yeah. So you've got the iceberg lettuce there. Just as you're cutting through the iceberg lettuce, I was just going to say, one of you're a real sort of proponent of keeping it simple and special. That's one of the things that you say a lot, and that kind of goes through your business and your food and your ingredients.
Yeah, I've always just really appreciated personally, like things that are simple. I should think that when you, I don't need to be impressed by something that's all showy and all clever. I just love things, and that's not just with food. That's everything. It can be art. It can be what I'm drinking, anything. I love the simplicity, and I love that something that's real. So I think it's always, when I opened my first restaurant in 2003 called The Black Pig, it was in Rock. It's quite a while ago now. What I do now and what I believe in, when I was in that kitchen, I was 24, 25, and when I was in that kitchen, what I'm doing now at 42 is no different. I still got the same sort of beliefs. It's just really good ingredients that and let them sort of sing. And because I'm lucky enough to be in Cornwall, you've got so many amazing ingredients and so many amazing suppliers and growers and fishermen, and that makes it sort of like, I suppose, a secret ingredient, but not really a secret anymore.
Yeah, well, it's really nice to sort of like share the quality, and coming from somebody like you, who's such a leading light in the industry, and being able to just kind of champion those suppliers and all the different things you can do, then exactly what this whole platform is built on. I got a question from Jack Stein, Nathan, and he wants to know what you think of Josh Nyland. Is he a game changer?
Yeah, I mean, Josh is. I met Josh Nyland. If anybody doesn't know who Josh is, who's listening, Josh is a chef from Australia, from Sydney, and he is doing he's basically doing simple seafood, but he's using everything. So it's a bit like, I suppose people have compared it to sort of Fergus Henderson with like his nose to tail cooking with meat, but it's with fish. Now, I think it's fantastic what he's doing. And I've met Josh actually last year, and he is a lovely guy. He seriously does know what he's talking about when it comes to fish. The difference being with our fish, though, is that we don't have those big, what I call game fish, then really huge tunas, and all the ones that he's sort of mai and all them sort of things. A big fish that you can sort of hang and you can dry and you can leave to age. We don't really. I would say I'm much more of a, I've got a lovely, beautiful mackerel that I've just caught. I want to get that in front of a customer, or I want to eat it myself as quickly as possible. Whereas I think when you've got those bigger game fish or them that sort of fish, you can age it and you can keep it for much longer. You can turn it into like pastrami's and making sausage and all sorts of stuff, which is great. I'm not sure whether the species that we have around the UK really work for them sort of techniques, but I wouldn't know that because I've not even tried it. So, but as for Josh, and if Jack's asking what I think of him, I think he's fantastic. I think what he's done, the book he brought out last year, what I think is a bit of a game changer, because it just opens people's eyes up to fish, and most importantly, it's sustainable fish that he's using, and he's using everything, so there's no waste. Yeah,
I think our mate Ross Geach is drawing up his Christmas list, and he wants to know what blender you're using.
Oh, this little one.
Yeah.
It's a little micro Magimix.
Nice.
Yeah, he's good one. I'm just going to make a little bit of noise, Steve, for a second.
Go for it.
I can't hear you when I'm...
Don't worry, mate. I'll just let you get on. Just while you're doing that, okay, so I've got, for everybody who's watching this on the channel, I've got another question from Deborah. So just when Nathan's finished making his mayonnaise, I'm going to ask another question from Deborah.
There you go, it's enough of that.
Brilliant, mate. Okay, so I've got another question from our YouTube watchers.
Yeah.
I think it's a slightly contentious one, but one that we all recognise, I think, if we live and work in a seaside town that's got a strong tourist industry. Why did you choose Port Isaac? Because the parking's terrible.
That's quite it. Well, I think there's nothing I can do about the parking. The parking there is it is what it is, and I think a lot of these little Cornish villages and a lot of the sort of rural villages all over the UK, especially by the seaside, were never expecting to have when they were built, they weren't expecting to have so many visitors. I sort of, part of me thinks it brings the charm of Cornwall. Talk for Port Isaac in itself, is that if it was bigger, then I think you would lose what Port Isaac's all about. It's unfortunate there isn't many parking spaces, and the frustration we sometimes, people eating at the restaurant, they get frustrated. But you got to get there early. That's what I say.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you've got it's all about booking. I've got a quick question for you, Nathan, about now that the restaurants are closed currently, and I know that that's a difficult time for everybody, but you put the same emphasis on the customer as you do with your teams in your restaurant. So are you finding it a particularly difficult time not to be open?
Yeah, I am. I mean, the thing is, we got quite a small team. I'm quite fortunate in when I listen to a lot of my friends that have got restaurants and stuff, and we've got about just over 30 staff and all of them are furloughed at the moment, apart from myself and my wife. Yeah. And basically, it is a tough one, because we want to be working. We love doing what we do. Yeah. We love being open as a restaurant, and this time, it happened at the worst time. We look forward to Easter, because Easter's that time when you start getting busy again and everything starts exciting. So and then obviously Luke coming now is the summer. I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to get a chance to open up as we were before. But this industry is fantastic. Hospitality is fantastic. We're a dynamic industry, and that's and I think we'll find ways to be creative and to get that food in front of people, and whether it be by delivery service, whether it be takeaway, mail order. They're the sort of things that I'm thinking about at the moment. I mean, if I'm being honest, if I was to open tomorrow and the government was to say no more support, you back on your own, then we're in big trouble, because the people are not going to be like they were before. Yeah. But I think everyone's I think you've got to stay positive in these times. Really, that's the only thing you can do, and hopefully, it gets better for everyone. I mean, it's how can you ever plan for anything like this, Steve? You know what I mean?
No, you can't, mate. You can't. So let me allow you to crack on, Nathan. Talk about getting food in front of people.
Right. So I've got these pieces of turbot, as you can see. I don't know if you can see those.
Yeah,
hand-egg and just coated in breadcrumbs. That's going to go into the fryer. Now the fryer that I've got here is on about 180.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to fry those off just for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, just until they're crisp, really.
Yeah.
And then I'll leave them to do their thing. I've got my roll here. I just cut that in half. I think everybody had to cut a roll in half, hopefully. Mind your fingers. And then all I've done with this iceberg, I've just mixed the iceberg with a little bit of that mayonnaise, the pea and herb mayonnaise, and then a gherkin, which is one of the last ones from my garden from last year, actually. So we're very privileged. I've only got a couple of pickles left, and then that's it until this year's.
Thanks for sharing your last pickles with us.
Hey, you know what? Pickles are very important in my house. That's like they're like gold. We've got through quite a lot.
Listen, Nathan, pickles in our house can cause a fight.
I think they're great things with pickles. I mean, pickles are really good with seafood, especially fried seafood.
Yeah.
They're perfect because they cut a bit like wine and stuff. Everything goes with them, and pickles are one of the things that we find people really enjoy when they eat at the restaurant. So I imagine most of the dishes that I produce, whether for the cookery books that I write or for the restaurants, they always have that acidic element to them. So pickles, I think that's one of the things. It goes back, if you go into a traditional fish and chip shop, you get your pickled onions and your pickled eggs, don't you? So it makes. But it's another one of those areas of cooking that you can actually be quite creative and try lots of different things.
And I'm going to make the link, not that you did, but you've got a new book, yes?
I have. I've got a few. I've got the restaurant book, which is Restaurant Nathan Outlaw. That came out about this time last year. I threw that on there, which is basically the story of a year of that restaurant. Thank God it's not this year, otherwise there won't be any content in the book.
It'd just be a pamphlet.
And then the actual one that came out again recently, which is just a revised copy of my first book, which is British Seafood.
Yeah,
this came out in 2012 originally, but I got a chance to sort of relook at it and update it. There's a few things in there like sustainability and stuff that's changed in the time that I wrote the first one. So they are good fun to do. I do enjoy writing the cookery books, and I get time. It's just I have difficulty sitting down and actually writing. That's my problem.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's that solitary thing, but again, when you're working in the food industry and you're working in the buzz of a kitchen and you want clientele, and hospitality is all about giving, that writing is sometimes very difficult. I know what we struggle with, and Kim Somaru, who was on earlier, the food economist, getting chefs to write down their recipes for demonstrations. That's a nightmare.
Chefs are terrible for that.
Yeah.
Kim's probably naming no names. He's probably mentioning me there. And I've done a few demonstrations with Kim, and he's basically Kim is the guy that makes the chefs look good.
I got to tell you, he didn't mention you once, mate. He didn't mention you once. I'm interested to know, do you have any other chefs' books on your shelf there?
Well, there's probably about 700 books in here, Steve. There's probably about 700 books in here. Lots of different books. Yeah, I mean, probably one that I've been trying to make his bread at the moment is Richard Burtonay. He's I think he's a good guy, Richard Burtonay.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent guy, really, really good.
Yep, I know Richard.
Yeah, he's a lovely man. I've been trying to bake like him, and it's not as easy as he makes it look. He's a bit of a Jedi, to be honest with you. So, and then I mean, I've got lots of old cookery books as well, which is something I try and collect. It's one of those things. My wife goes mad because I've every sort of other day there's a delivery of something on the doorstep, and she knows exactly what it is.
How's the fish fingers coming along?
Yeah, they're good. Nearly there. I'm being honest, the fryer wasn't quite hot enough, Steve. I haven't got a fryer at home.
Yeah, don't worry about that, Chef.
I've only got one of these things. So.
Yeah, well, I'm slightly nervous of fryers in a domestic situation, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's not one of them things that you want to be out of control. Especially, I wouldn't want to have to call the fire brigade and be frowned upon. You imagine that, can't you? Chef.
Well, I don't know if you.
Won't look good.
Exactly. I don't know if you were listening earlier when Jack Stein was talking about how he burnt down a cookery stage almost during a demonstration.
Oh no, it's very easily done though.
Yeah, I know. Some people do anything for attention.
Right, so there you go. I think you see those. See nice big
Yeah,
fish
lovely.
They're not burnt. That's the sourdough breadcrumbs on there. Trust me.
Yeah, no.
All right, and then there's a couple of the turbot fish fingers on the top like that.
Wow, that's a generous bap there, Nathan.
There you go. I don't know if you see that. Can you see that? Let me hold that up to the screen.
Yeah, we can see that.
I'll come round here and see if we can get it closer.
Look at that. That's amazing. You're going to need a step ladder to eat that. That's humongous.
Don't worry, I've got a big mouth.
Beautiful job. That's okay. Fantastic. Nathan, will you do us a favour? Will you take a picture of that and then we can put that on our virtualfoodfestival.org website?
No problem.
Amazing. That was such a pleasure watching you just kind of tick away nice and calmly. I can't believe you didn't get more flour, egg and breadcrumbs all over your hands. How did that not happen?
I know, it's just you know what they say, you got don't trust someone who gets dirty when they're in the kitchen. You've got to be nice and clean, Steve. Keep it clean.
That's it. Keep it clean, keep it simple. Brilliant. Nathan, that's fantastic. Can we bring in George, please? George Cleve.
Yeah, definitely.
Stay on the screen, because I know that you're a huge champion of the local supplier and producer. And George, as you said, is quite unique because he's a one-man band and he's a bit of a Jedi. George, can you hear us? I can see George, but again, it just needs to flick it over to, hi George, just there you go. George, we can see you, or at least I can see you, but I can't hear you. Just make sure that your phone isn't on mute, and then we can have a chat to you.
Poor George. It's not easy, is it, or technology, Steve?
No, it's not. I mean, honestly, I have got such an easy ride here, Nathan, because I'm sat here in front of my laptop. Just out of shot is my wife, Ellie, who's got about 20 screens and her arms are going all over the place. She's taking all the flack and it's making it really easy for me. I just chat. George, are you there? Oh. George, can you hear us? He can hear us, but I guess we can't hear him. Do you know what we're going to do, Nathan?
Yeah.
We're going to try and work out what's going on with George. We're going to bring in Mike from bin 2.
Yeah.
Because Mike's going to put a nice little drinks pairing. And has Mike had a little visit to your house already?
Yeah, I've got it here. Look, he dropped it off this morning.
Hey?
I'm already on it. Half a bottle.
Nice, good work. Exactly, yeah. Well, you've got to try it, haven't you? You've got to try it. Brilliant.
Very good.
Okay, Mike Boyne, how are you doing, Mike, from Bin 2?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's been awesome today. Well done, all of you. It's been great viewing.
Well, thanks very much. I'm saying thanks. I mean, you know, I've not really done anything. I'm just sat here, but I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you've enjoyed the day. So give us a little background about you, Mike, because I know that with Bin 2, you work really hard trying to get your amazing selection of wines to the right people, and also at a decent price. So just give us a little background.
Yeah, well, been to it's a little wine shop come wine bar combination in Padstow, just back from the harbour side. My wife Mary and I have owned it for the last 6 years now. We did the Victor Cayenne thing, if anyone's old enough to remember that. We started there as customers, and we liked it so much we ended up buying the business. So we sort of fell into the wine trade about 6 years ago. So yes, it's great fun. Like I say, we're about a 50-50 split. About half of our trade is operating as a bar, and about half of it is selling wine to take away. Very little, by the way, at wholesale. So it's been a real treat today to pick out a wine to go with Nathan's dish.
Brilliant. And I'm assuming you knew that he was making this dish, and therefore you sent a nice little bottle over to him. Can you tell us about the bottle that you sent?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Nathan doesn't live very far away from me, so I bugged people until I found out what he was cooking. And before I just talk about the wine I picked out for him, Nathan referred to it earlier with the kind of fattiness of the fish. You want something that's got a bit of racy acidity to cut through it. So a great wine to pick with that would have been English sparkling wine. And
Yeah.
we're really lucky around here. We've got 3 fantastic vineyards within a stone's throw. We've got Camel Valley, run by the Lindo family, been making great English sparkling wine for decades now. Right outside of Padstow, we've got Trevibben Mill with Liz and Engin and Salvatore, their winemaker, again making knockout wines. And a little bit further afield, we've got Adrian Dirtz and his winemaker David at Nightor. And they all make fantastic English sparkling wines, which would absolutely sing with Nathan's fish finger sandwich. But like Nathan couldn't just get a fish finger out the freezer, I've got to do the wine merchant thing of picking something a bit odd. So I thought fried fish. I thought you need something to cut through the fat. I thought about sunny times on holiday, and I thought of Greece. So what we've got is an Acertico, and it's often referred to as Greece's answer to Chablis. It's bone dry. It's got really kind of lovely lemon notes that come through it. It's got loads of zing to cut through the fat of the fish, and it's got a little bit of this is sound vile, but it's got a little bit of kind of salty salinity to it as well. So it works beautifully with seafood. And I thought Nathan must be awash with English sparkling wine all the time. I know he's got them on his list at the restaurant, so I thought I'd send him something that might be a wee bit different for him as well, with his posh fish finger butty.
Yeah, it's really good.
And Nathan, how's it drinking?
No, it's lovely. It's really, really good. I went to Catalonia about this time last year. Yeah. So I drank a few different sort of Greek wines there, but this is really, really good. And what you just said there, Mike, exactly. It's difficult, isn't it, when you hear someone talk about what a wine tastes like when you've not got it in front of you. Sorry, Steve. But what Mike just said. Oh, nice. There you go. What Mike just said there was that description was bang on. Really, you can taste all those sort of. You can see it's a perfect match for sort of a fatty seafood. I imagine that would work really well with like a grilled mackerel or something as well, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great wine for people who normally might just default to a Sauvignon Blanc. It's a really nice alternative that someone might like to try if they want to kind of just stretch themselves a little bit and try something a bit different. And I think it gives you a bit more than the average Sauvignon Blanc as well. So I'm glad you like it, Nathan. And funny enough, I was thinking actually I'd forgotten that the very first time I ate your food was at a little event you put on with Bob and Annie at Camel Valley years and years and years ago, and you did battered oyster burgers. at Camel Valley, and we had those battered oyster burgers with their English sparkling wine, which is what called it to mind that, of course, English sparkling wine would be absolutely awesome with what you've done today.
I'd be lovely.
Brilliant.
I remember that day. It was a good day, that was.
Long time ago now.
Yeah, you obviously didn't drink enough, if you remembered that. Mike, thanks for joining us. It's absolutely brilliant. I love this lovely community and network that you've all got together in Padstow, and hopefully with the virtual food festival we're able to kind of replicate that up and down the country. I think you've been very modest. I know you said you've been at the wine game for about 6 years, but that doesn't stop you winning an award, does it?
You're too kind. Yeah, last year we somehow, don't know how, bribed the judges, but we got picked out as the best independent wine merchant in the country by Harper's Wine and Spirits, which is one of our trade bibles. So it came as a huge surprise. But yeah, that was a real boost last year. We finished 2019 on a bit of a high, thinking 2020 we're ready for you, and then 2020's got some other ideas. But thank you for mentioning that.
Don't you worry about that. It just means we have to wait a little bit longer, and I'm sure we'll be able to get the details of Bintu up on our website. We've managed to find George Cleave. So Mike, we'll say goodbye. Thanks for your input. Thanks for the pairing. Brilliant suggestion. And even though it was slightly out there, I think it makes an amazing pairing. Sounds fantastic. You take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Hi, George.
Oh yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, good. All right,
Good.
fella.
Sorry about that.
Don't you apologise? That's fine. We were we could see you, but we couldn't hear you. So, George, you're a bit of a maverick in the food world, aren't you? Particularly in the fish world. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started to work with Nathan.
So yeah, I've been worked as a fish merchant since I was probably about 13. I was obsessed with fishing and whatever when I was a kid, and got a Saturday job as a fish monger in Port Isaac, just sweeping up, and then just always did it. Went out to Australia and did it for about 8 months in a big fish merchants out there, where I really kind of honed my trade. And then when I got back to Port Isaac, I think it was probably the same year I got back, Nathan had got his first restaurant in the village, and started buying a bit. I went back to work at the fishmongers that I'd always worked at, and he started buying some fish there, and that's how we met and everything. And I started doing a lot of the fish work for them, the prep and sourcing the fish and whatever, and they like the way I work and everything. And I'm quite particular about what I send out and what I buy. And then I went off and started my own fish merchants probably 2 years ago, and it's been on the up and up since then. So it's going all right.
Well done, mate, and well done to Nathan for recognising your talent and supporting you. Nathan, as a restaurateur, what are you looking for in your suppliers, and really, what does George do that perhaps other suppliers could up their game and replicate?
I think the biggest thing is got to be, the care of looking after, especially something like seafood. I mean, just talking for seafood in particular, George does look after it as if it's a bit weird, but it's like he's looked after it as like it's part of his family. He looks after that fish. That fish is always pristine, and that's what you want from anyone. I mean, there's some great fish merchants in Cornwall. We're very, very lucky, and there's some great ones all over the country. From any supplier, what you really want is to see that the same sort of passion and desire that you've got yourself as a restaurateur, I suppose. I mean, it's very difficult to have a relationship with anybody that doesn't sort of go into sort of their day with wanting to be better at what they're doing, whatever it is, And so George, he fits into that. He always wants to get better and do better at what he does, and he's always searching for that. The thing is, I always used to look at my food and try and cook it as perfectly as possible, knowing that probably I'll never ever do that. And I think that's something, if you've got that in you, you go to a fish market and you're looking at this fish and you want to get the best fish that's on that market, that's the eye you need for it. And I think that sort of works with anything in life, really. George, I say I can't speak highly of him enough, really. I mean, it's just unfortunately I know that he's going to do really, really well, and he's obviously going to get lots of other customers, and he'll leave me behind.
No,
that's it. I think we've just signed a verbal contract there, Nathan and George.
What's your name again?
Yeah, hey, careful. One of the things that I would just say to Nathan, just to sort of extend that, is that your idea of perfection, Nathan, is it even extends to the fact that you want to sort of make sure that your food appears on even the best plates, and you're a great supporter of Chris Prindle, aren't you?
So yeah, definitely, yeah. But Chris Prindle is he makes all of our crockery. Every single piece is handmade. So, and that's not because it's sort of it is wow. It's wow to me, but for me, it's just another craft that's in Cornwall and is being supported, and it's a one guy on his own doing something fantastic. And I think that people should see that. Not enough people see, but if you come to our restaurant, you everything you eat off a plate, or even the cups you drink your coffee out of, are handmade by just him. And that's something special. It's another. It gives what we do, and it gives any area can do this, because every area in the UK has got different amazing people that do some amazing crafts. But for me, it just brings the whole story together. If you come to Port Isaac, you're going to eat the best seafood from Cornwall, hopefully, that we can get that day, and it's going to be served on something that's been created in Cornwall, and also there's art on the walls that are all from the artists from Cornwall as well. And it's for me, it's like, because I live here all the time, so I take it for granted. But when you're travelling to somewhere as beautiful as this part of Cornwall where we are, you want to see. You might only ever come once. You never know. So you want to make sure people get a good impression of what's about.
Yeah, and I imagine that in that circle of excellence, you view the way that the food is cooked, the sourcing of the food, what it's served on, and George's part in that whole circle. You view that equally.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's all those people that make the recipe right. Make the recipe as good as it can be. It's certainly not. I suppose the chef is just the orchestra. You're just orchestrating it, really. I mean, you're making sure that it's just delivered to the plate in the best way as possible. I mean, obviously George is great for the fish, but I've got a guy called Richard Hoare who's got who grows veg for us. Obviously, some ended off asparagus you've been talking about, over the virtual food festival. We've been using them for many years. Unfortunately, not so much this year. And it's all those sort of things. And Camel Valley. If you come to this area, you've got lovely wine. It is a very unique sort of the thing. It's just for us. You've got the attention of people when they come to the restaurant for maybe 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, and if they can just get a good, just got to do the best you can.
Yeah, well, I think we're all moving to Cornwall, and I might open up a car park.
Oh, you live in Lyme Regis is beautiful, no?
It is. It's amazing. I love it. George, thank you so much for all of your excellence, your hard work, and your passion for what you do. Thanks for joining us as well, mate.
Not a problem. Nice to meet you.
Not at all. We've got your details on the website. You might start getting really busy.
Thank you. Cheers.
Take care. Thanks, fella. Nathan, you understand that we've got this a crowdfunded platform where people have been pledging to have a chat with you on the front row. Can we bring some of those in, please? We're gonna bring somebody in from the front row. Nathan has got a question. They'll be able. You should be able to see them on the screen. Okay. I've got Ian waiting in the wings, and hopefully we should be able to see Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hi.
Hi. How you doing, Ian Whitehouse? Whereabouts are you in the world, Ian?
I'm in St Judy, about 5 miles from Port Isaac. I think it's the same village as Nathan himself lives.
There goes the neighbourhood. Yeah, nice
Absolutely.
to see you, Ian. Thanks for joining us and thanks for pledging. Give your question to Nathan.
Nathan, my wife and I and the wider family are fans of your cooking. We've wouldn't say we're quite regulars at the Fish Kitchen and your other restaurants, but we do get along as often as we can. I suppose my question is, what can we as future potential customers do to help you now and through this crisis, not just yourself, obviously, but other restaurateurs, to make sure that those fabulous places continue to be available to us come the end of this crisis?
That's a good question. I mean, I'd probably say right now it'd just be supporting all restaurateurs and restaurants and hotels. That would be just be signed up to any newsletters or mailing lists, just to keep in the loop with any information they're putting out. Myself, what we're doing as a restaurant is we're going to start to hopefully develop this work to almost like a ready meal delivery thing, because we just don't know what's going to happen. We'd love to open the restaurants, but as you know, you've been to the restaurants, we're very small restaurants. They won't be viable even if we have to half the amount of business that we do. So my answer to your question is, we'll make an announcement from our point of view. We're going to make some announcements on what we're doing in the future, hopefully in the next few weeks, and then that's where find people like yourself can help us. But in terms of an industry, I think people sitting at home that are maybe not in the industry is just support people where you can buy things that can be delivered to your houses, with mail order and stuff, because it seems that with hospitality, the only route for us at the moment is that. And I think you'll see a better service coming from that in the future, because as I said earlier on in this sort of like video with this live video, it's a dynamic industry. Hospitality, we always make it happen as an industry, and that's what's always been an attractive thing for me being part of this industry, is that it doesn't matter how much in the weeds we are, you always get that food in front of the customer, and that's the beauty and the thrill of it. So in short, answer to your question is just keep supporting things like this food festival, sign up to all the newsletters, restaurants and hotels and pubs, and make sure you've got all the information, and then just buy stuff from us.
That's what I'm looking for.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you. Could I just ask one other
Thanks for your question, Ian. We just lost Ian. I tell you what, we might be able to get Ian's question on the chat facility. Don't worry about that. Sorry, Ian, we just lost you there. We were just losing the quality of that video. Nathan, we've got one more question from Deborah. We're going to substitute Ian for Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Welcome back.
Hi,
how are you?
me again.
You all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Had a lovely day.
Brilliant. Well, it's nice to see you. What's your question for Nathan, Deborah?
My husband Peter loves the oily fish, the mackerel and sardines, and I'm not very good with it. I don't like it as much. How can you make me like it so that I can please him?
All right. Whereabouts are you based in the country?
I'm in Yalding in Kent, so we obviously get it more when we come to Cornwall and things, the fresh fish. But at our local, there's a farm shop near here that's getting a van coming on Thursdays with Cornish fish in it, and we had skate last week.
Oh, lovely. You should. If you're in Yalding, I know exactly where you are because I'm from Maidstone, so I know it's not too far. The actual there should be some good fishmongers on your coast there in Kent as well. What I would say with oily fish is it's all about the freshness. So I'd imagine what you don't really like about it is it can be quite smelly, right? It is one of those it's a stronger aromaed fish. So the fresher it is, the more chance it won't be as strong, right? So if you can nip down to Hastings, or you can nip down to Folkestone, or any of them sort of places where there might be a fish stall, that would be your best bet to definitely enjoy it yourself.
Right.
In terms of turning something like mackerel or sardines or anything like that into something you'd enjoy yourself, I would say probably something, make it into fish cakes or
Oh.
even, I even made sardines are a really good one if you want to make a tomato soup. So with really good tomatoes, adding sardines to that, it actually is a way of eating sardines, but actually, and it does really bring out the soup. It's lovely. So, but in terms of them fish that you described, the oily fish are the sort of strongest ones. I suppose it comes from, I think, a lot of people eating it maybe when, I know my parents, my dad loves fish, but my mum really doesn't like fish at all. And I think it's because she had bad experiences with oily fish when she was younger. But the good thing I keep telling her now is that things can move around the country quite quick. So if you did buy some oily fish from, say, Cornwall and bringing it up to Kent, you probably can get it next day. So likelihood is they'll pack it up really, really well, and you're going to get it in a good sort of freshness, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. But keep it simple. I mean, if you've got the mackerel or sardines, make sure you dry them off with a bit of paper towel. Make sure there's no sort of residual sort of water on them, because it's usually the water that's on fish that is where the stench or the smell comes from. It's not actually the fish. So just get that fish really, really dry before you cook it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to be more experimental.
Thanks for the question. Great.
Thank you.
Take care, Deborah.
Yeah,
thanks for joining us today.
Nathan.
Thanks for pledging on crowdfunder.
That's all right.
Take care. Bye. Nathan. Thanks, Nathan. What a brilliant session. What a marvelous way to kind of draw a line under all of those fantastic chef demos and chats that we've had today. I've really enjoyed chatting with you, Nathan. I've really enjoyed the way that you go about your business, and just to learn how deep and broad and far-reaching the passion that you have for your craft sits within your business, all the way through from the plate to the diner to the sourcing and the supplier. And that's exactly what we're trying to champion today. Well done, mate. Thanks for your time. Thanks for supporting the Virtual Food Festival. Cheerio, pal.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Yeah. See you soon, mate. Take care. Bye.